Hello, this is Gary Auden, and I'm bringing you an EDUcast sponsored by Waldex and Telecom Recorder. Title today is Thrive and Capitalize Through Industry Change. This is the first of a series of 3 EDUcasts. Today we're going to talk about the state of the industry. As you see, we'll talk about technology and go-to-market strategies in later EDUcasts. Today with me is Robert Cooper, Executive Vice President of Waldex. And as we always do, let's talk about what our agenda covers. We're going to talk about business communications, digital transformation in communications, the focus and goals you should have, especially with unified communications, some business issues you'll encounter, why in many cases unified communications is not aligned well with the business. We'll then move forward into talking about value drivers, and finally, what's important to most of you, the bottom line. So Robert, let's start off with the first question. Does the outlook for VARs and channels look that bleak? Are they facing bankruptcy?
Well, first, let me say thank you very much, Gary, for having me on to speak about this topic. It's extremely important to us at Waldex. But what we're seeing here is that despite the tremendous growth in our industry, there still seems to be unbelievable volatility, especially with many of the vendors. And when I say the vendors, I'm really talking about a lot of the traditional legacy PBX vendors. And this turmoil is obviously having an impact on the VAR community. Their crisis is causing extreme disruption for the channel.
But at the top of the screen here, we see that the $96 billion over the next 5 years, is that something we should be taking advantage of?
Absolutely. But it's very difficult for the VAR to take advantage of it today because the vendors that have been in the market and have dominated the market for so long are in such disarray. And they're in disarray for a multitude of reasons, and I'm sure we'll discuss many of them. But this disarray and this disruption with them really is impacting the VAR in ways that they really can't imagine.
You have a phrase on the next page, endangered species. Can we talk about some of the challenges VARs will have to face, such as competition by vendors as well as support resource limitations?
This vendor turmoil means VARs face mounting challenges and increased competition in ways they had not anticipated or, quite frankly, expected. And there are 2 contributing factors, really. Digital disruption, meaning the platforms they are selling can't keep up with today's technological shift, and the changing market consumption models. These factors place VARs in a position of continual compromise and pressure. And they face some important decisions today that could determine their existence in the next 3 years.
On the next page, we have the phrase digital transformation. We hear about it a lot. Define it for our audience and how IT consumerization is affecting it.
So I would say for the VAR community, I think the best term for both of these would be digital business transformation. It's digital technologies, whether it's devices, applications, or platforms, and the way we use them in our experiences in our personal lives, it's driving or impacting expectations regarding the technology and experiences at work. And it is shifting the way businesses think about technology and are implementing technologies today.
We have this changing focus on business communications. People are phasing out their PBX, they're phasing out their legacy technologies. How do these drivers affect the VAR? What should be considered?
Well, you know, the transition to the cloud is well underway, and in fact is moving faster than all previous projections. And this is especially true for the small and mid-market. And in an effort to keep up with the changing market dynamics, all vendors are really trying to create a cloud offer or a UCaaS solution. But the problem with these offers, like many hosted offers, they leave no room at the table for the VAR. And these offers require the VAR to not only transition to an OPEX model, but surrender their customer to the provider. So there are a lot of drivers pushing the VAR in this direction. A lot of things that are pushing them in this direction, but there are dangers associated with the next moves.
I like the word goal here, but what can customers and VARs expect from unified communications? What happens when the goals are not met?
VARs offer the solutions they have, and when you don't have it or the solution doesn't match the customer's expectations, i.e., it's too cumbersome or costly, they will wind up utilizing an off-the-shelf or an OTT solution. And this begins an erosion of confidence and the introduction of a potential competitor. When we began in this business, communications was all about external. And over the years, it's become more about the internal. And the goal of unified communication should be to help your customer win and grow their business.
I like this chart on the next page, and that's about the top 10 small business issues. What are the two most important ones we should focus on for the customer versus the VAR?
So for the customer, it's really to stay focused on helping them grow or provide solutions that increase their business. And when you do that, this will allow the VAR to sell value over price. So I would say for the customer, it's attracting and retaining new customers, and it's increasing business growth. You're able to allow them to sell value over price. For the VAR, it's the transition to a true consultative services-based model and continue to seek out technologies and processes that enhance our capabilities. So I would say it's managed services and improving the quality of products and processes.
Next term we call about customer expectations or customer experience. What are customers expecting as a good experience? And you have at the bottom the word secure. Can you focus on security as well?
Sure. So BYOD and this digital business transformation, really has a lot of positive impacts, but it also has a negative side, and that is it can leave organizations vulnerable. And customers expect communications to be really a seamless component of their overall internal and external strategy. They expect to have real-time omni-channel capabilities, but it shouldn't be complex to use or manage. It should provide security without costly networks or awful VPN configurations. It should be easy and simple.
People like the word reality, but let's talk about the misalignment of UC and customer investments in that UC.
Customers invest in technology really, or anything really, for a business only for two reasons, and that is they want to win or increase their business, or they want to increase productivity and improve efficiency. And they want to do that because they want to win more business. So this is what any business expects anytime they invest or put money on the table. And right now, today, unified communications doesn't meet that mark for them.
On the next slide, we have the words reality again, but you have the word traditional UC misalignment. What does traditional mean?
So traditional are the traditional vendors that have been in the marketplace selling on-premise PBX systems to end user customers. And that struggle is now the VAR's struggle of trying to go out and sell a platform into a business that really is expecting something more. Business is transformed today. Business has moved from the telephone to the web. And what customers expect today is a platform that will meet their expectations to help them win, capture, and consult and talk with people over the web and conduct business over the web. So this misalignment between customer needs and vendor focus has really generated a general dissatisfaction and distrust. And the customer, instead of receiving a tool that helps their business, they receive an advanced telephone system. And it's not relevant. It's disconnected from the company website and social networks where business is done today. And it's clunky as multiple UCs in terms of usage. So customers see all vendors as the same. And this lack of perceived value means they end up buying what would be considered the top brand, which is quickly evaporating as a differentiator, or worse yet, the cheapest solution, which pushes the VAR into the pricing death march to the bottom.
You talked about value. There are compelling values out there. Could you discuss the delivery models and pricing structures you think are important for UC?
As we said, the shift to the cloud is well underway, but as VARs look at this shift and the impact that this transition from CAPEX to OPEX, it's important for them to leave options to offer multiple delivery capabilities, either on-premise, in the cloud, or virtual, and more importantly, be capable of connecting those models together seamlessly to provide enhanced capabilities to their customers.
The bottom line is always something people talk about. What are some of the challenges the VAR is facing that you've discovered in the market?
The biggest one I've discovered, which is really perplexing, is the vendor competition challenge. Many traditional vendors now are shifting to a hosted model, and they're bringing in agents, and this transition really leaves no room for the VAR.
Would you provide some final thoughts on what we discussed this afternoon?
Yeah, the stakes for VARs today are greater than at any other time in our industry's history. Traditional brand names no longer represent your only option, and neither is surrendering to the hosted providers. So now's the time to be looking in the industry and taking a look at the new technologies, new capabilities, and the new players in the marketplace that'll best fit your model.
Wildex is in this business, but you have a different story. Would you talk a bit more about the before and after working with your partners?
So Wildex started out like all the other UC vendors on the market over 13 years ago, focused on telephony and features without really considering the business benefit to our customers. And then we shifted our technology and our focus. We did that over 6 years ago to become more in line with the customer and the partner. We changed the focus from providing UC systems to providing an adoption process of UC. So our partners use it to sell consultancy rather than solely making quotations for customer requests. They can sell a project that shows an improvement in the three main areas of customer interest, which is productivity, efficiency, security, and business growth.
Wildex is a name a lot of our audience doesn't know about. Would you help us understand the global reach of Wildex? It's not just a domestic company.
So Wildex is an international company. We have over 9 offices around the globe and approximately 750 partners. We provide the only fully integrated enterprise-grade browser-based, or you could call it WebRTC, UCC platform on the market. And our market target is 2,000 to 5,000 users, but the sweet spot in the market for us is really around that 150 to 1,500 users.
I'd like to point out there are a number of resources available from Wildex, and here's the URLs to access them. I'd like to point out that this is the first of a series of 3 EDUcasts, and look forward to the second and third ones. Here's the contact information. There's a lot of it for you available. And I'd like to thank Robert Cooper for today's participation.
Thank you, Gary.